Well, Happy New Year. Welcome back to the Richer Retailer Podcast. Thrilled to have you here. We're going to be talking about New Year, new retail rules. It is a crazy, cautious economy. And so we're going to dig in today into the state of retail Q1 2026. How long does it take you to get used to saying the new year, right? Listen, what I want you all to think about, let's start with a little mindset shift, shall we? Instead of thinking of Q1 as a slow season, think of it as a reset season. It has its own purpose and its own opportunities. It really does. I'm going to go over all those purposes and opportunities and suggestions for you here. But also remember that we do a full state of retail Q1 summary in an email, and it's a little longer. We go into more in depth and things. And so if you want to get that information, just let us know in the show notes or just DM us anywhere with your email address. And we'd be happy to send that to you because it gives so much more information than we can really give here. And it goes a little deeper for you and makes things even more clear and more actionable. What I love to think about in Q1 is how every year it asks us to slow our breathing down just a little bit. After the rush, after the energy, after all those late nights, it gives us a chance to recenter ourselves and actually decide what kind of CEO we want to be this year. Instead of just being pulled along by the calendar, you can be so purposeful, intentional, and powerful right now. All right, let me get into what I'm seeing in our community and what's happening nationally, right? I'm going to talk about 3 trends today. The first trend is meaning over more. I have seen this apply to both thumbs as well as pinkies. Your best customers as well as your sale customers. People are spending, but they're being more thoughtful. They're trading down in some categories or some classes of inventory so that they can splurge in other areas that feel perhaps more meaningful for them. Experiences or wellness and self-care or comfy things and anything that gives them a sense of ease. And we find this is a very common theme also this time of year. All right, so your January action prompt, this is what you must do now, is to go through your top Q1 sellers. What do you usually sell the best in Q1? Look at your sales from last year. And I would upload that list of maybe 25 of your top sellers from last year and say, why do these items matter to my customer right now? See what they come up with and feel free to swipe some of those comments, and then you can update your signage, your online descriptions, any social media that you're doing or emails that you're doing about those items, and you can quite clearly answer the question that your customers might have about here's why this product is worth choosing. It's such a powerful way to communicate the benefit to your customers, and you're using AI to make it simpler for you, right? The second thing that you've got to take action on right now is to look at those top selling items. And if you haven't done it already, increase your initial markup on your top 20% most loved items. I would start with the top 20, but then shoot for the top 20%. Because then when customers are choosing carefully, they'll choose what you love, and those love-worthy items will be making you more money. You deserve it, because the other thing we've certainly seen too is that the cost of doing business is increasing. Primarily, it seems to be from all of those SaaS products, those softwares as a subscription that you're paying monthly for. We didn't used to have all of those. Don't hesitate to check through them and see what you might still have that you don't need. But even more importantly, make sure that you're increasing your initial markup so that you have more profit margin to cover it. I have so many podcasts and YouTube videos about this. Please check them out, because I want you to feel confident about this and to know that your thumbs, your people who love you, who are 80% of your business, they do not mind paying a little bit more so that you can thrive. Your people care about that. So that's what I want to make sure you're taking action on in January. Then your February and March action prompt, what I suggest there is that you build mini collections, mini scenes around wellness, around self-care, or even around experiences. I want you to create little mini collections around simple wellness or self-care or experience-driven add-ons. By that specifically, I mean including like journals and candles and a coffee mug and maybe some delicious coffee, so that you're giving them all the ingredients they need in order to create their own experience or an experience with friends. That's what people will be taking action on in February and March. Those make fabulous Valentine's Day gifts. For sure they do. The other thing I'd suggest is that you create one small in-store moment that feels good. Like either offer like a little tea bar or a little tea selection, or maybe lighting some candles in your store as I did here, or offering different music or some other sort of vignette like that. Just something that makes them feel cozy. Hot cocoa bars are great for that. Mimosa bars are great for that. I saw a Paloma bar. Someone put that together where people could put all the add-ins in. Those little in-store moments create such a sense of feel good in your customers. It really elevates the experience for them. It does. All right. That's trend number one. Trend number two, inventory gets leaner, and that is to your advantage, my friend. What we're seeing is that the volume of imports is dropping, which means bigger stores will feel that pinch first, right? Your superpower is speed. You can respond to local needs faster than any chain for sure. So your January action prompt for this is to make sure you are ruthless about clearing out old, lazy inventory. If it's not paying you rent, get it out. This is prime time to run a strategic clearance sale, not a weekend promotion, not a store-wide sale, but a strategic clearance sale that can free up cash that's tied up in what I call your brown bananas, because inventory does not age like fine wine. It does not increase in value. They age like bananas. As it gets older, it gets mushier, it gets browner, it gets uglier, and starts attracting fruit flies. Yes, it does. So you want to turn those old bananas before they get that bad into cash so that you can invest in your best sellers. That's what you want to be able to do. The other bonus for you is that our best selling clearance sales secrets strategy is currently on sale. It's usually $500, which is a steal because you use it once, you make that money back the very first day of your sale. And then you can continue to repeat it and repeat it. We have it on sale, not for $500, but for $100. Look for the link in the show notes and start moving that old stuff out. I tell you, when you follow this simple, easy checklist of how to have a successful strategic clearance sale, it makes all the difference in the world. All the difference in your world. Now listen, if you have items that are marked down and still not moving, ask yourself, why does this matter to my customer now? And follow the same thing, the same strategy that I talked about a little bit earlier. Don't hesitate to update the signage and your online descriptions or your social media to answer this, to tell your customers, this is why this is worth choosing. Give them more information to make a decision. Okay, because we want to move those items out. All right. Now, February and March action prompts. I know that you're in the midst of buying, right? And I want you to be ready for that. Run a gaps and wins analysis. What that means is I want you to look at what sold out the fastest in the last few months. What categories have your customers asked for that you didn't have? What essentials are your competitors low on, do you think? Ask your team to shop them during lunch or something and just take a look. And then you can identify 3 small, fast buys that you can bring in now to be the store that has what others don't, right? And then you're already covering doing things that other stores aren't by having those amazing, lovely little small in-store experiences. So you'll be doing something your competitors aren't, and you'll have things that your competitors don't. All right, number 3. Customers are alone more now. We know that already. That's been trending for a while. And they're online more. So what I see is that customers really want 2 things at the same time. They want ease, and they love personalization of items, because they're busy and they're online a lot and they want to be able to make quick decisions, right? At the same time, they also want human connection and shared values. They want to support businesses that get them, where they feel like they belong, where they care about the community, and businesses that align with their values, right? And small, independent retailers, when they use just enough technology to remember customers, to communicate thoughtfully, and to make shopping feel personal without being weirdly or awkwardly intrusive, right? So here's what this small but smart tech, I love that phrase, small but smart tech means. It's simple tools that make your customer feel seen and cared for without adding complexity to their life or yours, right? So what I'd like to see you do, your January action prompt for this, is to set up one automation, just one, that personalizes communication for your best customers. This is not a full system. It's not a complete POS overhaul. Just one small action, one small lever to pull that can create connection and drive sales. What is it? Try a simple opt-in text list for customers who want first dibs on new merchandise. Call it your new arrival text club. That certainly is a done but not perfect example. You can perhaps come up with something that sounds a little bit more like your store, but that's what this is. It's a new arrival text club. Tools that work well for this are Klaviyo, Shopify Forms, MailChimp SMS, and simple texting. And many point of sales also have a way of doing SMS texting processes. You can check. So there's a couple of ways to do this. You can train your team to ask at checkout, hey, would you like a text when new things come in before we post them on socials or send out emails? And if the customer says yes, then enter their phone number into your point of sale and then add a tag or a note that says new arrival text club. And then later the owner can send a group text about all this using their tool or point of sale integration. This works because when a human is asking for their engagement, you get a higher opt-in every single time. This is no extra devices or setup, and it just fits naturally into the checkout flow. The second option that you can do is using a simple sign with a QR code. This is still very easy, but it's a little more scalable. So what you do is you create a QR code that links a short sign-up form that contains their name, their phone number, and then one checkbox. And next to that checkbox, it'll say, text me when new items arrive. Then you can place a sign near the check register that says, I don't know, get first dibs, new arrivals by text before we post them. Scan to join our new arrivals text club. Super easy. And the team can say, hey, if you love new arrivals, you can scan that code right over there to get a text when things first come in. This works because the customers can opt in themselves and there's no staff data entry. It feels certainly modern, up to date, right? But it's not intimidating in any way. Now, another more passive but still effective way is using a bag insert. Or you can also do this on a receipt. You can add a small line on your receipt or on a postcard or on a flyer that says, love new arrivals, text arrivals to, and then put in the phone number for first dibs. This way, the customer opts in on their own time. And so this is best like for times when you're super, super busy and for smaller teams and for owners who don't want your team to be handling signups. I gave you all this detailed information so that you have no excuse to say no. But there are a couple things that I don't want you to be doing about this. Number one, don't ask everyone. It cheapens the whole experience. You only want to ask people that are engaged with your information and they seem that that's what they want to do, that they really do want that information. It seems like it matters to them. Number two, don't send daily texts. Once a week max is all you need to do. Number three, don't make it complicated. Just get their name and phone number. That's all you need. Remember that this is curated, not mass marketing. And this all ties back to our superpower, richer retailer strategy because it improves sell-through. It will build customer intimacy. It'll build the connection that you have with your customers. It can reduce your reliance on discounts because you're telling people right away that the new stuff has come in. And you're telling the customer that you know that they care about convenience and connection. And you know what they care about, which is new items, right? That's why it's so powerful. So that's what I'd like you to try in January. It's a great reset. And the open rate of text messages is through the roof. It's really powerful. All right, February and March action prompts. I would have your AI. By the way, have you named your AI? Crystal on our team calls hers Oliver. And Cecilia calls hers Mavie, actually. So I'm wondering if you've named hers. One of my pet peeves about AI is when it is referenced as a man, because I am telling you that for sure it's a female, for sure. So you want to have AI, whatever you've called your AI, write 5 to 10 short, personal, I thought of you style scripts. And then you can use these as templates for your team. 5 messages per day, either text or email or DMs to real customers. And then track who comes in. See what it is. It could be about what you've most recently sold. It could be about an event coming up that weekend in the store. You could be inviting them to your Paloma bar or whatever. It takes about 10 minutes to set up and is for sure one of the highest ROI actions for Q1. That direct connection like that works so well. One other thing I would suggest you do is to create one, what I'd like to call a values forward moment in the store. What that means is that you're taking your values and you're sharing them forward. So like partner with another local business, feature a micro display, a small display that has sustainable and local favorites, right? You could host a small community themed event. Or listen, the Olympics are coming, right? In February, you could do an Olympics themed promotion that allows them to connect and play along, or do your own Olympics in the store with some crazy games. You can look, there's so many on TikTok. It's so much fun. These deepen loyalty in a way that digital only touch points can't ever do, ever. That's what your superpower is your speed and your connection with all these customers, right? Alrighty. Now, you know, we always end with a Millie moment, right? Millies are our $1 million retailers. And this month's mindset is about finishing like a richer retailer CEO. I love alliteration, you know. You're not fizzling out like a frazzled store owner. How is this true? How do these richer retailers do it? Listen, it's not that they don't have up and downs just like you do, but they decide to treat these $1 million CEOs treat Q1 as a setup season, setting them up for success for the rest of the year. They pick one upgrade that improves each quarter. They'll do one upgrade each quarter, or maybe one will last 2 quarters, but they focus on one thing at a time. Sometimes they have to put blinders on to make sure that they do, because can be so hard. But when you pick one item, one thing to do, you will get that done, and you'll be so proud that you did. Something like improving your initial markup, overall, everything. Perhaps it's tightening up your assortment, not offering. We talked about with Elena from Poopsies, we talked how she's learned many times that paradox of choice is real, that when you offer a customer more choices, they buy less. So tighten up your assortment. What is something that you have perhaps in 7 colors that you may only need to have in 3 colors? Really, things like that. Also think about simplifying the customer journey. That's such a great thing to do with your What Else Is Possible time, is to sit down and think about the customer's journey from the first time they see you via an email or the first time they see you on social media, and then going from there. What I want you to know is that you don't need to do more. You need to choose better and choose one. That's what you need to do. I'd love to hear which of these trends you're going to take action on right away. And if this was good for you, if you learned something you didn't know before, please share it with your friend, and please leave a review and tell me. I love to know. I read every single one, and it's such fun to hear from you. Don't hesitate to reach out. I'm Retail Mavens on all the platforms, so you can get me there. You can find me there, or you could join our Facebook group. You can find that at www.retailmavens.com, and that takes you right to our Richer Retailers group. All right, I'll meet you back here real soon. Know that you are astonishingly fabulous. You are so loved, and you are a Richer Retailer CEO. This is your year. I'm cheering you on. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out because I'm here to get you there. Bye-bye, everyone.